go in now. Let's try and stream it now and see what happens.
Okay. Are everybody off?
Right.
Looks like it's streaming.
Okay, I have to go find... You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, crap. We got a greeters meeting this Sunday, and I'm not prepared for it yet.
Oh, there it is. Just go live. You have a greeters meeting?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm cutting over to the swipe.
We got to figure out, as greeters, how to make people feel so welcome at church that they actually come back the next Sunday.
Well, yeah, well, Jesus isn't good enough. Come back because our greeting's awesome.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do in today's culture, man.
Am I right or am I right or am I right?
You're good. That's why we're painting the walls, too.
We're here.
Hey, it's Friday. This is Uneducated, where you don't have to be educated to think rationally and logically about issues, and especially about the Scriptures. Actually, I don't know if I should say especially about the Scriptures, because the Scriptures are actually deep, but God in His divine wisdom can give us clarity, even the depths of the Scriptures. So it's still not about education, but I guess it sounded like I was saying that you need to be educated to understand other stuff, but the Bible's kind of stupid, so you don't need to be educated.
But you don't, right?
You don't.
You don't.
But that's
I'm not.
But it's so deep that you would think that somebody, for instance, in the Acts of the Apostles, they get before the Sanhedrin and the council, and they say, "Hey, these are uneducated men," but they noticed that they'd been with Jesus, so they knew there was something different about them. They had some wisdom about them.
Yeah, and if you just say the words of the Bible, it makes you smart, right? As long as you use them correctly.
It does make you sound pretty intelligent. All you have to do is, because that's about where I don't study it. I was thinking about this. I have a cousin who's put a lot of his college years, and he's like a professor of theology from King David to wherever. Like, he knows a lot of stuff, But I don't. If I could make the judgment, well, I guess I can't. I don't know, but I don't know if that makes I feel like I equally can be a Christian, even though I haven't studied. Like, he knows Hebrew, he knows Greek, but I equally, in my ignorance, in my uneducatedness, right,
can share Christ. Like, we have that common bond.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a genius.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be the difference between educated, and wisdom.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
There is a difference between the two.
I agree. So you don't have to be educated, you just have to be wise.
There you go.
All right, well, we're glad that you're here with us today. We saw Naomi logged on Facebook, and Rachel's with us already this morning, so as others are checking in.
Center this camera up.
Huh?
You want to center this camera up?
This is
he's cutting your shoulder off.
What's up with
I couldn't look any bigger. It's like we're trying to fit Matt in the screen. So
okay, all right, I got you. Well, why can't the tech guy do this? What are we paying him for?
The pastor really is the boss of the camera, so I kind of think of it as this is his pet.
Oh, I'm looking at this screen and messing up that screen.
Yeah, you need to look at that one. All right,
is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to set that there.
We're getting it together.
All right, so it is Friday, and we're glad that you're joining us. We have a special guest with us, Justin Dekovich. Did we say that earlier? Is that how you pronounce your last name?
We were talking about the spelling and why it has a capital C in it. So you can't say Dekovich.
Yeah.
Right.
So
even though we agreed that might be a cooler name.
It would be.
Sorry.
Possibly, I guess.
But it is actually Dekavich, and or is it? How would you say it then?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Dekavich.
So the E is like long. Dekavich.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's because the C's capital.
Gotcha.
I think that's what I would assume.
I really love Dekovich, though. I think it just sounds so. It's amazing.
It's Eastern European gun. It's unbelievable.
It's really cool. So Justin's with us, and he's been with us before. Justin is a MAT specialist, which is a muscle activation technique specialist, right, Justin?
Yep.
And so he does that. He also teaches gymnastics, and he is a daddy on the way. He'll be a daddy for the first time here in about, 4 weeks?
Yeah. Yep.
4 weeks. So how you feeling about that?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I can't be more excited about it. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
We got the nursery and everything set up and everything, and it's just, now that it's all set up and ready,
Right.
it just gets you even more excited about it. So
Yeah.
I'm real happy.
Are you,
That's
are you
awesome.
sleeping good?
For now.
You take them 4
Oh,
weeks
yep.
and you cherish them.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got about 24 to 36 months of nonsense coming.
Yeah. Unless you do what I did, and that is April.
You want to go get that?
Go get Brian. Actually, Brian slept awesome, and Nathan did too. Nathan had a little bit of acid reflux early on, but he was good. We never had a problem with the boys. Now we're having big problems with them. Yes, that's all right. So you either have problems in the beginning or problems at the end, one or the other. So I'm just kidding. Our boys are good. All right. So and Brienne, she's doing good. You had a checkup yesterday. How'd that go?
Yeah,
Everything good?
it was good. Everything went well. Just got to monitoring blood pressure and stuff like that. Other than that, I mean, it was pretty usual.
So your blood pressure's good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, for
Nice.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. It'll go up once the baby.
Oh,
comes
yeah.
in,
I was going to ask, is there a particular reason why they're monitoring blood pressure?
It's
He hasn't been feeling well.
right.
Are you a little dizzy?
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Getting real nervous. Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, I'm asking because the preeclampsia seems to be
Right.
a huge deal.
Yeah. So we had a scare there for a little bit, a couple weeks ago. We thought that's what was kind of going on, but they tested for it. It was all good, all clear. Everything was good for preeclampsia and stuff. So now we're just monitoring. They're pretty sure she's clear on it for now, and they're not concerned enough to put her on any medication, which is great.
That's good.
But we are getting her induced a week early, so 39 weeks instead of 40. So.
It really is nuts to me because I've been having children for a decade, and when we had Zoe and even Zia, this preeclampsia thing wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although then we did find out there were people in our age range at that time that did have it be a thing. And then Corey, with our final baby, she ended up getting it at basically was in the week before for her final checkup. Everything was cool. Got to the hospital, gonna have Xylee, and the doctors are like, "Do you feel okay? Because you could die any second."
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was like 220 over. Like it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was insane numbers.
Wow.
And it turns out she had like onset preeclampsia, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
what
coming out of
happened.
the woodwork.
Yeah.
So I naturally go, what are they feeding us, or what have they injected us with? And we're all dying now from this. I don't know. Just more conspiracy theory for another day. But
Well, that's what Brienne's mom. That's what happened to her. Her blood pressure hit the 200s and stuff like that, and so it's kind of
at delivery.
yeah. So like it's kind of and she's on blood pressure medication too at the moment, and
It's
like
just
currently.
super
So
common.
yeah.
Like
Yep.
now, it's super common.
Yeah.
What changed? Is it like is this from the fair fries? Is it something that they're putting in the fair fries? Or the Swiss cheese on a stick at the fair? I don't understand.
I think there's something wrong with y'all.
Okay.
But
Are we going to move on, Brian? You want to talk
Yeah.
about serious things?
well, yeah, because this whole conspiracy thing that the government doesn't love us and they're not doing good for us. I mean, come on, you guys really believe all that?
Like coronavirus?
Yeah, but we're not even. That's old news now.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Come on, it's done.
Okay. Go ahead. We'll move on.
All right. Well, so Justin, one of the other things Justin does is here at Northeast Community, Justin has been working with our youth for a while now, and he's just recently moved into a different role, and that is to kind of work with the youth and the families and even help April with children, and we're just kind of working down some different avenues so that we're partnering with families to reach our kids so that they can learn how to love God and love people as well. And so, Justin, in the transition, as you've been looking to do this, so your first thought is how
That was dorky. That was a dork move. Sorry.
we really need tech people. So
Stop it.
just call us. So, what kind of challenges do you see as far as trying to reach this generation of teen kids?
Challenges probably the main thing would be consistency, I think.
Okay. Like their consistency, or you being consistent with trying to build a relationship with them, or what?
Kind of, I mean, both in that aspect. I originally thought, well, maybe it's like like motivation or just curiosity, but then you just sit down and talk with them, and that's just not the case.
Right.
You sit down and talk with any of them, and that's just not the case. They have questions and questions and questions, and they're willing to talk about all those things. Right. It's just how consistently can we see them? How consistently, does all this happen? How often can I get to meet with them? How often can other people in the church get to meet with them and actually have those conversations and stuff with kids like this? So I'd say it's mainly consistency. Okay.
All right. It used to be in the old youth group area that you would try to have tons of fun with the kids, and then you would throw in a Bible lesson. What's your theory or thought on that, and is that something that still we should probably be doing? Because obviously kids like to enjoy stuff and have fun. Or how are you trying to implement that to reach the kids, but at the same time making sure that the foundation is let's get the scriptures into these kids' heads, let's get them talking about it, thinking about it. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I feel like that's a good idea to do in most cases. Is let them have a bunch of fun, and then kind of just throw something in there, slide Bible verse in there so they don't really notice and distract them in a way. But so the problem with that is I feel like it'll get old eventually, or you're going to do something that they end up not liking, and then they're like, oh, that was kind of weird. I think it's more useful to mainly get them talking about it, answer their questions, talk about the questions that they have and stuff like that, get them interested, and then everything else you do becomes more fun. Once they're really interested in everything and they're talking about it and they feel like they're kind of leading it in a way, they feel comfortable asking all their questions, and then they just go crazy with it,
Yeah. So that's the question was. I'm sorry, I was responding here, and so Brian's question was like getting kids active into the thing. All right.
Yeah.
So I always have had the question. I'll probably counteract his question and go, do you think that maybe we dump too much? Like, I know that you need to engage, right? We spend all of our lives marketing, engaging, and doing whatever, but then at the same time, do you see a change in youth mindset as far as like needing to always be like poked and prodded and entertained, and wouldn't just Christ and the knowledge and thirst for His Word and whatever, wouldn't that? When I was growing up, I went to youth group because I wanted to hang out with my friends. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I was going for a different motive.
Right.
And now I don't even know that that's cool, because now we can hang out with our friends on our phones. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if all of the like motivating, gearing, and thinking whatever with everybody's ADD mentality, is that an uphill, impossible battle?
Right. So you're thinking the more fun, entertaining things we do, though, that's kind of like.
I don't think it's bad. I don't want to say that it's. I don't want to say it's bad or it'll motivate. I guess the thing of it is kids do these things on their own anyway, right? They have more options for entertainment than there's ever been before. Yeah. And then on top of that, they have their phones and the video games and the whatever. When I was a kid, I wanted to hang out with my friends. It was an avenue to hang out with my friends. It was cool to go to a rockathon. Mm-hmm. Okay, you hang out all night, and I don't even think you're allowed to do that anymore because we ruined that with grossness. But so trampoline parks or nature hike in the woods, or I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing with the youth, like, do you think that's a draw as much anymore? Because like everybody's doing those things now all the time. So I go back to the youth group being like centered around the Word of God, and then rather than luring them in to meet the Word of God, like how do we make them go, hey, I'm seeking the face of God, and I'd like to go to the trampoline park.
Exactly. Right. That's exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to try and that's kind of what I'm trying to create is, centered around their questions and the things that they're passionate about, because they're definitely curious. They talk all the time and they have a bunch of questions, and it's just a matter of them feeling, number one, comfortable to talk about those things, and then number two, if they're talking about those things, they'll definitely want to go to a trampoline park,
right,
with all their friends, right?
Because now there's a bond, right? Now
Exactly.
they have a friendship and a camaraderie with those people.
Yep.
All right, so now that I kind of have my mind in the game, sorry about that nonsense. We had talked about, we went to the parents meeting, and we were talking about this idea, and it's kind of foreign to me, and it could be just the way that I was brought up, and maybe I am unaware of everyone's life situations. But we were talking about this idea that you want to have an open communication. We're talking about a phone app and this and that and the other thing. Want to have an avenue and a communication device that kids feel like they can reach out to the youth leader or the church leadership for advice. And one of the things that was said by one of the individuals is, I want them to feel like they can go to you and I don't need to know about it.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that odd? Does that strike you odd?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I think that potentially could have been more towards the age of the kid in that situation. Like the kid, if the kid's potentially like older, maybe the parent's not looking to be as crazy involved in their life, and they're trying to give them their space. But yeah, that was a little.
It's
shocking.
Foreign. It's foreign to me because growing up, my family was about as close as it gets, is what I'm finding out. Okay, and it just was normal to me. Like we went water skiing and camping, and we went out west and saw cousins and aunts and uncles, and we would go to Disneyland occasionally or a thing like that.
Right.
But our things were geared around spending time with family and how we do things with family. Yeah. And so to me, I never really thought about I would go to my friends. Okay, I would talk to my friends. Because, as a peer group, you're making fun of parents and teachers and, hashing out life on you, whatever. But I never, for me, to go to the guidance counselor or the youth pastor, that was kind of like, well, that's nerdy, right?
Right.
If I couldn't take it to my parents and I couldn't hash it out with my friends, well, then there was nothing to talk about.
Right.
So I don't know. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like this is more and more common. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that speaks to the brokenness of families. I don't know if that speaks to the brokenness of our culture. And I know as a youth leader, to me, it would be extremely challenging. That'd be a lot of responsibility.
Right. To have
some of those things scary to you.
Yeah, to have a kid mainly come to you first and then look at you and then not have to involve their parents.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
It's new. I don't know. I feel like that's where it's kind of what we want to start. Right?
Do you feel like it's been generated at all by our ability to have media? Because on our phones, if you didn't have the email, if you didn't have the texter or the phone, I don't think you had an avenue really to make that happen easy. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely.
And now we have this thing where you can do that.
Well, the easiest, the closest people to talk to, like you're saying, before all of that was your parents,
right?
Your siblings, maybe your older sibling.
Absolutely.
That would be the person that you kind of go to, or your friend down the street.
Right. Exactly.
It's not. You can't just go on your phone and go on the internet and search these questions up and see what the internet's going to give you and then you're getting into a whole nother.
That's a whole. Yeah.
Exactly. You're getting into a whole nother bad spot with that.
And because I think that it does it beg people to be over emotional or what's the word I'm looking for? Looking for attention, like attention starved. I already think, and this kind of was going to go to the topic if you didn't come today that I was going to talk about, is this idea of people being attention starved or feeling like they need to have attention. And so this now gives them a platform to be dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
And have attention. We're talking about what started this was if he found it odd when we had the parents group meeting and it was if one of the people in the meeting said if my kid wanted to, get a hold of you, you'd leave me out of it, right? Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. That was odd to me. That never dreamed in a million years that'd be a real conversation. But then when you look around, the world really is replacing family, and I don't know if it's a function of they have to or that they are killing the family in that way, that they're go talk to the guidance counselor, go talk to a pastor, go talk to a thing, and I don't know where that's coming from. It hits me weird. So we were just addressing those things and how the phone kind of makes it possible to do that, and the technology.
I'm totally out of the loop because
I know. Well, that's how I felt when you left.
Right.
Yeah.
I had
Well, that's good. It sounds like you've been having good conversation though.
No, not really. I've been talking. Justin's been trying to listen as best he can, and I thank you for it. You go ahead and finish out that topic if there's anything you'd like to say on it. I wanted to talk to you about that because I found that weird.
No, yeah, I thought it was definitely weird. Well, because then we got into the topic of what happens, legally, and stuff like that. Like if your child is doing something that is essentially illegal, or not good for their health, stuff like that. Like, why would I want to leave you or anybody out of that?
Right.
Right, that makes sense.
I don't know, and I understand that you might want to keep that line of communication open to talk and trust that person, but at what cost? Like, you don't want it to cost something more than that. It's better to err on the side of caution, I think, and involve more people than less people in situations like that.
Right.
When the child or the kid is in any danger of any kind.
Robbing banks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. If they came to me and was to tell me that,
right,
of course I'd have. I'm not just saying, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know.
Unless, of course, like they made a big score.
Well,
and you would have it. You would have it with them.
Be like, listen, I won't tell your parents if.
Awesome.
How much you make? How much you make?
What was the job worth?
Yeah.
So seriously, I think Jim Jordan. So I'm going to take this around to politics because that's what Matt does.
Matt loves politics.
They're trying to slam Jim Jordan up against the wall because he really was giving them a run for the money down there in the impeachment trials. So apparently he's being hauled before the court because it sounds to me like he was a basketball assistant coach or a wrestling coach or something, and he knew there was a sexual harassment type situation, but he did nothing to prevent it. And so now he is defending himself in court. I don't know what you do. Like, I don't know. Where does it become a responsibility of one to be responsible for someone else's illegal actions?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't think it's great if I see a kid robbing a bank, or if a kid comes to me and tells me that they're a bank robber. I don't think it should be my responsibility to have to report them to the authorities if I don't want to. Does that make any sense? And where does that line get crossed? If I see a murder,
that's what I was thinking. Like, where?
But
yeah,
I guess.
Well,
But I don't. All right. You should want to do those things. You should want to report those things. But I don't know how I can go to jail or have law consequence.
Right.
When I didn't do anything with it. Now, unless I was there on scene. If I'm there on scene and I know that person's going to go do it, and I'm going with them for it to be perpetrated, well, then you're accomplice.
Yeah.
But if it's they told me or I'm a witness to on happenstance, how can you be held responsible for that?
Yeah.
So.
Or if it's your spouse, because you don't have to testify against your spouse, right?
Well, I don't think you should have to. I think you should have to testify. No, you don't have to testify against your spouse. But I think if you were made to testify that, Kevin told you he was a bank robber, well, then by all means go testify.
Right.
But if you're the one not reporting it to the police and you're kind of staying quiet about it, well, maybe you're just shy and scared and don't know what to do yourself. Maybe Kevin's going to hurt you if anyone finds out.
Right.
I think kind of where that line would be drawn would be the age of the victim, I guess, because at least in sports, like with gymnastics, at least, if I was to put myself in that position and had to defend myself, right? If I heard anything of something going on, with a child,
Yeah.
and I didn't report it to at least the gym, then that would be, I could see why I'd be getting in trouble for that. And the way it works in gymnastics now, at least, because there's been a lot of stuff.
Right now, there's laws in place.
Right. So, like, at least what it works now is, as long as I bring it up to them, and you report it to USAG, then they just do their own investigation on their own, and you kind of step away. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're out to get that person, because they get claims like this all the time.
Sure, of course.
And they don't end up leading anywhere. It's just a miscommunication kind of deal. So I guess that would make sense with a minor. They're not going to want to. They're too scared to go up in front of people, and it's a kid's word versus an adult's word and stuff like that. And if I'm another adult, knowing, or even not even knowing, not even there or anything, just hear of it, I think it would make sense to be reported to somebody so that they could do a thorough investigation. And now it's out of my hands, and potentially nothing's even going on. Right. But if there is, at least somebody's known about it, and somebody's going to go professionally look into it discreetly and not, cause a bunch of craziness to happen unless something crazy is going on.
Right. That's when I sat down to talk to somebody, even from a pastoral counseling standpoint, and I'm not a professional counselor, but when I sat down, I take the same platform, the same steed, because as a pastor, if I fail to report something, I can be held liable for that as well from a professional standpoint. So I always tell people up front, listen, as we talk through this, if you do mention anything to me about hurting yourself or hurting someone else or something like that, just so you know, I have to report this because, for your health and for the health of other people and those kind of things. And so I just let people know that up front so that they know, because I hate the fact, too, of feeling like someone's going to come in and confide in me about something and then feel like I broke their trust. Mm-hmm. So I just let them know up front that if those kind of things happen.
All those questions come into play, or you have attorney-client privilege. Mm-hmm. If you told things like that to an attorney because they were pertinent to leading up to a case,
right.
Well, where does that line go with attorney-client privilege, or I've got to share it with a law official?
Right.
I start to think these things get muddied, and I think that you should want to, if you're taking a job that has that responsibility, and you have that child or minors or even adults, if you have adults in your, under your purview, you should take that as part of the responsibility of the job.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking as a.
But if there were an incident or a case, like now, to me, you're coming down to the judgment. So. I don't know. We'll use the hurting yourself thing. Say, somebody came in and they were like, you still could apply this. And they were like, I just tried it. I cut my hand. I just wanted to see. Mm-hmm. Maybe you never hear of it again.
Right. Should
you have reported that? But then, things can escalate really quickly. Next thing you know, they're chopping up their arms like a piece of sushi. Mm-hmm. But you didn't report it. But, they were like, well, they were trying. This gets so weird to me that we even have to talk about these things.
See, I think in a situation like that, for me, I would definitely make note of it in some kind of document, and then I would follow that up and continue to follow up.
Sure.
And if for some reason it looked like it was going down a bad road, then we would move into other avenues.
But now we're coming down to the judgment of somebody. If there was a deal, their judgment has to be like, no, Brian knew what he was doing, or no, he waited way too long, and I don't think that's fair to put on somebody in that type of position to make it a law, I guess is what I'm saying. Right. But I'm a libertarian. So
well, I have had people, give me due, I guess, cause to think that they might end up hurting themselves. And in the situation, I went back, and in those situations, because I couldn't do anything to get to that person or talk to that person, I called the authorities to go do a safety check. So the police showed up and did a safety check on these people. Now, these people got a little frustrated with me afterwards, but I told them, I said, listen, the only reason I did is because I care about you, and there's no reason why anything should escalate to the point of you being in a place where, you're just not thinking straight, and then you do something that's going to cause, your life to be gone, or the people that you love to now be without, a person around them. So I said, that's why I did that. And so I've had people on many occasions, and maybe it's the word's getting out now, but they'll text me or something. They're like, man, I'm so depressed. I just feel like, I just don't want to live anymore. But I wouldn't do anything. Trust me, I wouldn't do anything, And I'm like, well, how do you take that then?
All right, so this is what I guess we're finally getting around to what my stupid mumble speak gets to. I think a lot of this is attention getting.
Some of it is.
I think a lot of it is attention getting, but you don't want to make that judgment call because that'll look bad. Right. And number two, I think that we've obscured the lines of common sense. Here's the thing: we're all screaming, running around. We want everybody to be equal, be equal, be equal. But then we have, no woman should be untrusted. Mm-hmm. So no matter what a woman says right now, that must be true. Well, that's not very equal.
No.
Okay? And the same thing with kids. Well, they're kids. They're kids, and they're living in the world. Like, I watch some of the stuff that I let my kids watch now that I wouldn't have let my oldest watch a long time ago. And, I'm like, holy cow, no wonder these people act like this.
Yeah, right.
You stepping out for a second again?
I am, so I'm going to... You know what? I'm just going to do
You
this.
just go. You act like we got a ton of viewers. All right, so anywhere you want to run on this silly topic?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's feeding into attention, because everybody's looking at likes, and that you get excited because you get these likes, you get these views, and you feel now that you're more important, and so the only thing that you're thinking about is getting more likes, more views, and more likes, more views. And that's kind of, and you're always checking your phone for those types of things, and that's the only thing that, some kids. That's the only thing that makes some kids happy, like they're just so excited about their Instagram blowing up or stuff like that.
Right.
It's all about me, trying.
Well, that's really what it is. Yes.
It's all about me.
Yes.
That's what your phones are for. It's just, what can I do for myself here and make me feel a little bit better? What filter can I put on to make myself look better and look nicer and make me feel better about myself? Which, I think there's definitely good in technology and stuff like that, but I mean, we're sinful people, so we're only going to make it, we're only going to make it bad.
I think though too, it isn't even just the technology is just an aid in this problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is definitely a cultural breakdown or a society breakdown of the meism. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, everything that's what marketing and where we've taken all this is like everything is out there to make you happy. So the second you're not, you got a problem and you need to get it rectified. Now that could be in the form of beating your empty coffee cup against the table at McDonald's because you're not getting your senior coffee. Right. To kids crying and yelling in a store because every time they go to Walmart they don't get something. Don't fall into that, by the way. Then all these things, or I'm not getting likes on my posts. How come Susie? And it's no different than when I went to school. You had the popular, good-looking jock type people. You had the the hillbillies. You had the fat kids and the nerds, and it's no different. Now it's just on here, and it's like, well, Susie gets a ton of likes, and nobody looks at my videos. I find it to be incredibly stupid, but then to come full circle, all the way back around where we started, but then to go, I'm going to go talk to my youth pastor because, my mom's absorbed in her phone. She doesn't listen to me anymore, so I need to go talk to my youth pastor. That's really kind of how we get where we are, I guess. Yeah. It's a ridiculous long.
I mean, if we're going down to like core issues here, then why does this person want to get all this attention? There's obviously something they're lacking or they're wanting there, and they're just looking in the wrong places to get it. I think there's a solution to every problem that these kids are going through, or anybody's going through. I feel like they're lacking something.
Well, it's easy. They're lacking Christ, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is what we're not teaching anymore, or it's not getting through. Like the message is, as much as we have done this to death. So all right. So this comes back around to the youth and the youth groups. Like, there are people who will make the argument that youth groups aren't working great, because so some of the people that I listen to, they tend to be a little conservative. They're like, leave the kids in church. The kids need to be, like, you can have your youth group, but it needs to be on a different day. Because when the church is gathering on a Sunday, everybody should be there on a Sunday. And the kids, definitely the teens coming up to be the adults, they need to learn how to sit still and pay attention in church, because that's where they're going to be in 7 short years.
Right.
Or whatever. Right.
Well, and so just looking at statistics, that's when most kids drop out of church attendance. It's like after their youth group,
right?
And now if they're only stuck in the youth group and that's all they know, they're not going to want to come up to the pews, right? Like they're gonna.
Go ahead.
That was sneaky.
No, he did a great job. Nobody had any ideas, like a ghost.
So it's because they're gonna feel uncomfortable, right? They're coming back from like a fun. What we were talking about, fun and, always upbeat and craziness.
Yes.
And then going to sitting down and listening to
Brian,
a pastor, talk for that 45 minutes, Like it's different. It's not what they're used to. It's not what they want to do. And I think, that's when they're going to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
And if not then, it's when they're out of the house.
Not to mention, too, you're assuming that youth group was teaching theologically good, sound things and training them up to be a good Christian. Sometimes I'm thinking that some of the youth groups out there are just Joel Osteen, dog and pony show, feel good, happy time.
Right.
So, this is why they're not sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
You've lost control of this, Brian, so... Sorry.
Talking about my white teeth, buddy.
What?
To the heater guy?
Huh?
To the heating your
No, my white teeth. Joel Osteen. He's got the whitest teeth in the world, man.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He's
got beautiful teeth, man.
When you have that much money, you can take care of what you need. And just shout out to Garrett. He said we can rob banks. They won't miss the money. Our communists.
Okay.
Thank you, Garrett.
Well,
thank you so much, Garrett. Appreciate that. All right. So then from youth up to adults, this is what's interesting. If we can get on this topic just for a minute here, and then we'll see how much time we got left. But I've been preaching through this series of being ready. And with the new year coming, I thought it was a good way to kind of enter in. And Luke seemed to just, where we were at in Luke, it just afforded us to say, okay, let's do this series. So we've been talking about being ready, not just for when Christ comes, but being ready, period, like to reach people, to help people and their souls to be developed in a Christ-like manner, and our souls to be developed in a Christ-like manner. So this week we're going to be looking at Luke 12:54 through 59. And Jesus looks at the crowds and he says to them, listen, you can look and see the dark clouds and you can go, oh, it's going to rain, and it rains. And you can feel the south wind coming up and you go, it's going to be a hot day, and it's a hot day. And he goes, and then this is what he says. He said, but you hypocrites, you know how to analyze the appearance of the earth and the sky, but why, this is key, why do you not analyze this present time? So my thought was this throughout the week. We've got even Christians who spend a lot of time knowing a lot of stuff, like we know a lot of things. But very few people analyze who Christ really is. So even if we look from a youth group perspective, if you were to sit down and talk to most of our youth, they know some things about Jesus, but in my opinion, a youth group should find innovative and creative ways to help people really see who Christ is, so that Christ is transforming their lives. Did you guys already talk about this?
Matt was talking about that a little bit, right? So we were talking about like what if we're going back to core reasons why people are searching for this attention, they're missing something, and Matt says, well, it's pretty obvious here. They're missing Jesus, right? They're missing Christ, and that's what's causing them to want all this attention and all this affirmation and all these things. They want this excitement and stuff that they're not getting at other places. They're missing something.
Yeah, right. That's because, not even for our youth, but like for our adults, the idea is I can be religious, I can look the part, I can go to church on Sunday, I might even be in a Bible study, but how many of our believers really know what the atonement's all about? And you don't even have to use a big word. How many people really know the price that Christ paid for their sins? How many people really think about that? How many people really sit around and look
People don't contemplate their own death until it's near, let alone worry about Christ's death.
I hear what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we see that every day.
Yeah. Right.
But this goes back to the constantly feeding me. Like, I'm alive. Of course, I'm going to be here tomorrow, and I need to worry about what I'm going to do to make me happy tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And Christ is saying it's pretty important. Like, okay, you could analyze, for instance, that my wheel bearing's going bad in my car. So April says, hey, the car's making a weird noise. So the first time I got in and rode it, I'm like, oh, that's just the tires. You know what? Just turn the radio up.
All of us husbands do that, by the way.
Yeah.
So
if you turn the radio up, most sounds go away.
Right.
You don't have to worry about that. So then I wrote it again. I'm like, man, that's pretty loud. And then I started to go, wait a minute. That's reminiscent of the sound I heard in the Pontiac. And I'm like, that was a wheel bearing. So I'm like, I'll bet you it's a wheel bearing. So now the more and more I analyze it and I ride in, I listen to it, I'm going, I'm pretty sure it's a wheel bearing. Now the question is, when will I change the wheel bearing? I'll get to it eventually. But so I can analyze and know that kind of stuff, and I've done that over time because it's a necessity for me. But why don't we think it's a necessity to analyze our own soul and our relationship with the creator of the universe, and analyze other people's souls and their relationship with the creator of the universe, and how we can help others, bridge that gap, and how we ourselves can. Why don't we sit? We don't talk about this.
There's a lot of I don't gets, and so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, if Justin wasn't going to be here, was our love affair with stardom and notoriety. And the reason I bring this up is because I spent last week in Oregon, and I went and saw the guy I really like who builds cars, the Dodges. I was telling you, restoring cars, and like it's almost, I don't want to say it's like a local access show because it's a bigger than that. It is nationwide, but it's not like a huge show. And I shook his hand, I took pictures, and I'm like, I was thrilled to death. And then I went and saw Marcus King Band. We watched them play live, and I was like, why in the world am I not this goo goo gaga for Christ? Like, I had the convicting moment of like, this person in front of me, and it isn't that I'm in love with them, or because I think people do that. I think people turn them into idols, right? And that we do idolize famous people. But it's the same kind of question. Why wouldn't we idolize Christ? Why wouldn't we seek after him? Why wouldn't we? The guy died and rose again and saved all of humanity. Why am I not crazy for Christ?
Right.
But I'm not.
Right.
I have to work at it. I've got to read. I've got to pray. I've got to study. And maybe it's just because he's not a flesh, like I can't touch and see.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it seems like that's the thing.
Yeah, you kind of do those same thing. We do that same thing with the stars, right? We study them, we watch them, we know about them, we know a lot about them, we're interested in them. So it's essentially, if you can put it in that context, I guess that could be a way to look at it. Like you're just looking at Jesus as you'd look at any other star. People know crazy facts about all these other stars. And,
yeah, I know, but the
right?
motivation,
exactly. It's not the same. It's not. You're not watching him on TV. It's not super entertaining.
No, you're not seeing him right there, right then.
Right.
Yep. So
yep.
I
think it's just interesting to call them stars.
Right. No, it's true. Why do we call them stars?
I'm sitting here going, Justin, you're getting into the whole evolution stuff, and then I'm going, no, he's not. He's talking about people.
He's talking about entertainment. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Well, I mean, I was a little frustrated this week as I was trying to pull this together because I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I convey this message? And I think, Justin, you just kind of threw it out there, and it's part of how I'm going to, use some illustrations and thoughts. But for instance, I probably know more information about certain people on TV than I do about Jesus.
Right.
I mean,
I would say it's a guaranteed fact.
Yeah.
Most people. But, all right. Let's not even use Jesus. I was just having this thought. Helicopter goes down. Unfortunately, Kobe Bryant and his daughter and all of these other people are dead, right? Mm-hmm. Whole nation cries and mourns. Meanwhile, we kill hundreds of babies a day in the womb, and everybody goes to fight for it. We were going to talk about a Buttigieg. Does that bring us there?
It could bring us there.
But I had that thought of like every day, unborn children.
Right.
The nation isn't crying. We are moving on, and half of the country's trying to fight the good fight to keep on killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Helicopter goes down, famous basketball player. I run into people, I'm like, I didn't even know you knew what a basketball was. Why are you crying? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That person is valuable now.
Right,
in their
exactly.
eyes, right?
Yeah, no, and
They're not worth much to people, I guess.
and that's the thing. I don't want to cast any mislight on the helicopter situation.
Right.
But at
right.
the same time, I want to be like, hey, people, like this happens every day.
Right.
Like, where is your heart for the rest of humanity? Why is it just this one place?
Yeah. Well, that was like I looked over at April. I think the day it happened, and I go, I just heard there was other people that died in the plane crash, and I looked over and I go, why don't we hear about them?
Right.
You know, and
Well,
again,
one of them was like a whole baseball family.
Yeah.
Like the coach and his whole family or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I mean,
I don't
yeah,
even know their names.
I get it.
You know?
Yeah.
That proves right there. Well, whatever.
You could spend some time analyzing and researching that, and you could find their names,
Yeah, no, I could.
or you could figure out who Jesus is. Well, it brings us to what's his name? Butt Gauge? What did
No,
you say?
but age. It's Pete Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg.
I think they're on TV. They're calling him. Now I'm saying it wrong because I'm stuck there. It's not Buttigieg. Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg
Pete
is what they
Buttigieg.
call him on the news. Breitbart calls it Buttigieg, which I happen to like. And there's Buttigieg. There's tons of names.
Butt gig.
Butt gig. That's a good
I
one.
hear butt gig a lot.
Butt gig.
Interesting. Nice names.
I refer to him as Pastor Pete because Pastor Pete Buttigieg, he is Democratic
Buttigieg.
candidate for president. He is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He got in there on like less than 10,000 votes, period, because that's how many people voted in South Bend. Anyway, he's gay.
I mean, he's happy.
No, he has a husband.
Oh, okay.
He, what is the words I'm looking for?
Please tell me it ain't so.
He pretty much went to bat for abortion at any cost. And you were even saying this morning, like,
Yeah.
he'll go as far as the infanticide up to 3 because they don't know what they're doing, and it's really your decision. So, to me, or to maybe a Christian, would be like, wow, that's a pretty evil person. When you look at that dance card, and yet he seems to be gaining some traction. I don't know how or why, but I don't know who you vote for, and I don't know where we wanted to go with that, with the Buttigieg.
Well, the last part of what Jesus talks about, though, is he says, then he continues and he says, so why do you not even on your own initiative judge what is right either? So I think he's looking at judging what is right, and then he says, while if for instance, if you knew you were guilty and someone was taking you to court, you would try to strike a deal with them before the judge threw you in prison. Because you knew you were guilty, you knew it was coming down on you, you would try to strike a deal. Well, he's saying, listen, you don't judge what is right, meaning you don't know your own sinfulness, and you don't know, or you don't realize, or you're not worried about the fact that God is going to judge you on Judgment Day. When you die or when I return, one or the other, you're going to be judged. Paul said it is appointed for man once to die and then the judgment. So that's going to happen. So you don't, on your own initiative, you don't care about this. You don't judge what is right. You're not thinking about what is right. So nobody thinks about these things because it's easier just to brush them under the rug and forget about them and call myself.
Society just has plain said it's okay. Because you'll now find on CNN, like, so the things that I just said about Mr. Buttigieg, some of them would be considered racist or homophobic, or like there's a whole new slate of terms that racist isn't, but like homophobic. If you happen to think that being a homosexual is a sin, that's going to get thrown in with racism soon. I feel like we're really close.
It will.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I think the main problem here with Pastor Pete, I think, is, he says he's a Christian and follows Christ, but bringing it back to the verse, Jesus is talking about being able to analyze things and figure things out. We analyze the weather and we can figure out if it's going to storm or not, which means you can analyze things and come to a conclusion of right or wrong, of what's going to happen, right? So he's specifically telling us that we can analyze the character of God, Jesus, and what's going on in the Bible to figure things out, to come to a conclusion, to right or wrong. And the problem with Pete is he talks constantly about interpreting the Bible your own way. Everybody's going to interpret it a little bit differently. And there's truth to that, but there are things that are just black and white.
But you have to. I guess the problem with
There
that
are ways
is you have
to analyze
believe
it.
that.
Right.
But you have to believe that.
Well, coming
If
from
you're not going to give the Bible, this is the problem. If you're not going to say the Bible is the inspired Word of God, handed to you to learn how to live life, then you can make all kinds of arguments out of that thing.
That's true.
I think that's the problem we've lost. I don't know. So that allows Pastor Pete to make that thing fit whatever he needs to fit in his life and make it fine. Right. And it's hard to come against that.
Right. Yeah, and I think too that one of the like most people say, well, I can't believe all that stuff is in here is true and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but here's the difference. When you read this with the mindset that I'm going to analyze this, and whether it breaks my mold, whether it tells me something I don't want to hear, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I want to hear this because I want the truth. If you read with those kind of lenses, you read the Scriptures, you will find the Scriptures not only to be right, you will find them to be wise, and you will find everything in there. You're looking at it going, wow.
No one wants that conviction.
That's true.
No one wants that conviction. And right. I guess, this goes to... I
think that's why he called them hypocrites.
This goes to... Yeah, absolutely. But... Well, because they used it when it worked good for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when Pete finds a verse in there about love and says that I don't love, well, it works for him. But when Pete finds a verse in there that says, don't lay down with another man, well, they didn't mean that. And the problem, you come down to the defining principle of the Bible, that if one part of that is not right, true, or accurate, then the whole thing's garbage.
Right.
Because how could you possibly trust it?
Right.
So that really becomes the fundamental thing of the Bible.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back to that what you said, that foundation, that if Jesus is not who he said he was, then throw this whole thing out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's not even worth. It's a waste of time.
So if you're going to disagree with one part in there and say that it's anecdotal or that isn't obviously what he meant because that doesn't fit my life view, well, your life view is the thing that needs to change.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to if you believe there's an actual right or wrong, an absolute truth,
which we're getting rid of, right?
Right, exactly. We're getting rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's my truth. My truth is my truth, right? It's not. It doesn't have to be your truth. It's what I think is true.
Right.
And that's a huge problem. Your truth cannot be reality. It doesn't. You could say your truth is this way, but that's not reality.
Well, and what's crazy about that, I wish people would think some of these things through when they say really dumb things like my truth. Yeah. Because if my truth is I'm going to execute you and stick you in a hole in my backyard, well, that's my truth.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, you really go down some dirty, scary places very quickly by making your own rules like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, even if you just follow the laws of logic, when someone says there are no absolute truth, there are no absolute truths. You have to look at them and go, is that absolutely true?
Is that absolutely true? Yeah.
Logically, your whole argument falls apart.
Right.
So it's nuts. All right, well, we have about 10 minutes left. So, gentlemen, where are we going for the last 10 minutes? Do we have any crazy stuff we want to talk about, or do we want to...
I feel like I monopolize a lot of the time as usual, so thank you, everyone, for indulging me. So I'll yield my time.
Just so you know, there's only one person watching now on Facebook.
There's still 3 on YouTube. Yep. And
So
Carol said hello.
Okay, so to you 4 people that are watching, Justin, you got anything you want to throw out there? No?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Radio signals from space.
I do like the political stuff, though. That's pretty fun.
It is fun. It is.
We could do that for hours.
Yeah.
That happens to be where I live.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do real quick radio signals from space. Matt, was there any truth to what report you found that we're getting?
Did you find it? Did you look it up?
I didn't look it up.
Okay. So for the past, I want to say it's 4 years. I think I read this on Drudge. For the past 4 years, for 4 days on, 12 days off, in a regular cycle, from a planet or a solar system 19 light years away. No, that's the new planets they just found, 50 light years away. So you would have to travel at the speed of light for 50 years to get there. We're getting radio signals.
How? Radio signals travel slower than light. How do you do that?
Well, that's just how long it took them to get here.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So that just means that's how long it took them to get here. But
Do we know how long we've been receiving them? Because like, how long could they have been?
this has been going on. This has been going on for like 4 years, I think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we just picked up on them 4 years ago.
Are you familiar with SETI?
Jamie Foster.
Yeah, and Carl Sagan's program to monitor space.
Okay.
We are beaming radio signals into space,
Okay.
and we are listening for radio signals back. As Carl Sagan thought that we're not alone for certain, and we'll find aliens if we do this. And he's the one that funded all this. So, yeah, Contact. Watch Jodie Foster's Contact. Anyway.
It's a shame that I would know that information, but don't know who Jesus is.
No, this is true. If you don't know Jesus, but you know that, you really need to evaluate your priorities. We really try and get a good message out there. All right, so for 4 years, I believe, these radio signals have been coming in. And so, again, it's clickbait, and I fell for it. These are just the death of a star. There's something going on. There's an interaction in space, and there's an object that's obviously getting in the way for 12 days and letting it emit for 4 days and send radio. Because there's radio signals in space. There's all kinds of stuff, radiation. All this stuff's out in space. So it turns out that it's not aliens. I thought for certain that we were going somewhere between Jim and my new discovery of my new end times theology and the movie Messiah. I'm putting together a life philosophy based on these meetings right here. Messiah, Jim, and now radio signals coming from space and coronavirus. I was getting ready for the end.
You're thinking the coronavirus is the quarter of the population that's killed by the plague in Revelation?
Okay, so I've seen stories that the U.S. military is worried about it. The numbers they're saying are infected are underestimated, and that if they don't get a hold of this is mainstream articles. If they don't get a hold of this, it has the potential to kill 60% of the planet.
60%. Well, that's more than a quarter.
No, so it doesn't make sense. But to fit my truth, maybe the Bible's wrong right there. I don't know.
Maybe they're just trying to put scare tech. Maybe they're just trying to freak everybody out.
Oh, and I also was listening to Glenn Beck. You don't want to get this.
Does he not look like the Santa Claus now?
He really, well, it's part of a look.
You know the Santa Claus where he starts gaining the weight and he gets the full white beard and stuff?
Like before he's the Santa Claus, but he's trying to live a life hiding it?
Right.
Absolutely. No, he does. You're absolutely right.
It's crazy that I know that.
He said you don't want to be a smoking diabetic and get this or you'll die. So I'm like, I better stay in my garage. So either way, anyway, the thing that scares me is it's supposed to be contained. Paul, you're just going to have to wait. It's supposed to be contained.
Rejected Paul.
But yet now they're like, oops, we got 15,000 more infected. Does anybody not find it completely sinister that it's 14 days to present? Like the regular flu presents in 3, right?
Yeah.
This is a biological weapon because what it does, with a 2-week presentation time, you could run around for 2 weeks and talk to all these people, and you're giving it to them. The cruise ship, did you guys see the cruise?
Do we know how it's transmitted yet?
They're saying it's through pipes. They're
yeah.
saying it's through pipes. They're saying one of the people was saying that
Water pipes?
yeah, it can live on the floor for 9 days. Wow. So they're saying that
I just licked the floor yesterday.
In these, just licked the floor.
Crap.
No,
no.
Right, when you put on your shoes, do you touch your shoes with your hands?
Not the bottom of them.
No, but you're still. Germs
close,
move around.
yeah.
You're close. You're right there. Maybe you nick it with a knuckle. Who
Dude,
knows?
you tell this stuff to people. They're going to be germaphobes now.
I don't want anybody to be germaphobes. When you look at the thing how it's going, it's kind of scary. And I also one more thing that real quick. Why is the national U.S. media now going, I don't know, this could still be a thing, and we just brought a guy into San Diego yesterday. And I'm like, well, yesterday we were cool, and we shut it all down, and now today you're going, I don't know, could be. Those things worry me.
Yeah.
How many have died so far, just real quick?
I want to say it's like, is it 400? 300?
Oh, no, it's been 900 for a while.
Wait.
I saw 900.
Where in
China.
In China.
No, I don't think there's any deaths in the United States
Right,
yet.
deaths from it. I think we've had
No,
people,
in fact, we cured it.
that's right.
Right?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
what you
I've-
heard?
That's what I've heard.
Okay.
Is we can
Oh,
take
well, then
care
we're
of it
good.
here.
No, we're not.
But
See,
it still
this
has
is
that
the-
2-week
Yes,
period.
yes.
You know, that's going to be hard to jump on. You know, if it doesn't show in 2 weeks, even if it's curable, that's still a pretty big problem. If you can run around for 2 weeks and give it
No,
to
that's
whoever
huge.
you want. you
That's
know.
huge. That's any. I mean,
But
that's
you only get it during the flu season, right? It's going to be gone here in a little bit.
when the weather warms up.
When the weather warms up, it'll be
Okay.
gone. So here's the thing: if you're coming from, what's the guy's name? Pete guy.
Pete
If you're
Buttigieg.
coming from that perspective, as long as it's not going to affect us and we have a cure, why love mercy and do justice?
Why not go
If it
ahead?
doesn't
and
affect us.
Well, why not let people die?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
All right.
'cause-
I feel
'cause as
like
a Christian in Micah, it says, "Hey, what does God require of you? But to walk humbly with the Lord, to love and to do justice and to love mercy." So, if we're not going to be Christians about that, we're not going to care about that. Then, I mean, most people, if you think about it, most people are going, "Hey, as long as we got a cure here, we're good. Who cares about the
I
rest
see
of the
what
planet?"
you're saying.
Yep.
And I did have that thought while I was watching that. I'm like, oh, well, we're safe.
Well, I mean, it's a pro. I think it's a big. I think it's going to keep coming up. I think the numbers are going to be low because China's not a good place. It's a bad communist country.
Oh, so you're saying
Carrot,
maybe judgments coming on them?
I think they don't run their country very well. They're quarantining people. They're going into people's houses, taking the sick out of the houses, and putting them off into pens, basically to die. They're not taking much care of them.
Right.
They're just trying to get them out of the houses so it doesn't spread as much, and basically just waiting for the people that are infected to die. They're
Or
not
run its
providing.
course. If you live, you
Right.
live. If you die, you die.
Exactly. Like that's their plan.
But that's a communist mentality.
Exactly. That's the comment. I feel like that's the numbers are going to be low all the time, and they're going to keep getting released, and we're going to be like, oh, wow, that got bigger, and then we're going to get all upset about it and freaked out about it. I think that's what ends up happening, is we see everything bad going on in China, and then we don't put it in the context of, okay, well, over here we're going to have a little bit better chance of taking care of it. We're going to get a little freaked out.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
I would like to think you're right. And we did, okay, so instead of just letting the fella in Washington die, I watched the doctor who was treating him say basically like, nah, we gave him a thing and he started getting better and like we fixed him, right?
Yeah, right.
So I would like to think that's a thing, but and so then naturally the response from the reporter was, all right, are we working with the Chinese to get this over there? And I think they are, but as a person who kind of works and deals with the Chinese sometimes, they're sometimes difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're being difficult to deal with because there's a certain amount of pride over there too of
Right.
like, this is not a thing. Everybody look away.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they do. I mean, they do that with a lot of things.
They do.
This isn't the only thing they do that with. They have a lot of pride in what they do, and they don't really want a whole bunch of help. They just want to become more and more powerful.
They
And
have
they'll do
the
whatever they
answers,
need.
right? It
Right.
looks like they don't have the answers if they can't get ahead of this thing.
Right.
So
Right.
they just fool themselves.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Did you see, as a side note, I think somebody got it in North Korea. Did you see how they solved that problem? They killed him.
Really?
Yeah, they
Okay.
just shot him. They took him outside and
Oh
shot
my
him.
gosh. Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
No, they did not.
They did.
I'm not-
Well, it's a news story. I mean, I read it.
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody in North Korea got it, so they
Oh
shot
my
him.
goodness. Well, I also heard from somewhere, and I think it was Skywatch News and
Garrett, that's where communism goes. Just,
Derek,
I
yeah.
want to tap that. Real
Right,
quick.
yeah, tap it real quick. Derek Gilbert reported something about how, okay, so you have the coronavirus, but then they're talking about how there's two other viruses that are fairly big. Like the avian flu is not done yet, and its problems over there. And then there's another one, I thought. There was 3 total.
This thing that we've had for 8 weeks.
Yeah, what's that thing called?
I have no idea, but it will not leave my throat, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
mine took about 8 weeks, and then after that you get abscesses.
that's awesome.
I'm just joking.
That's really
So,
great.
but listen what it says in Revelation 9. This is just really interesting. 9 verse, 15. And the 4 angels who had been prepared for the hour and the day and the month and the year were released so that they would kill a third of mankind. The number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them, and this is how I saw the vision. And the horses and those who sat on them and the riders had breastplates, the color of fire, and the hyacinth and of brimstone. And the heads of the horses are like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths proceed fire and smoke and brimstone. A third of mankind was killed by these 3 plagues, by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which proceeded out of their mouths. Obviously, this is allegorical language here, but the smoke, the fire, and the brimstone must be some kind of plague, must be some kind of disease or something. For the power of the horses is in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails are like serpents and have heads, and with them they do harm. So the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, so as not to worship demons, and the idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. And they did not repent of their murders and their sorceries, nor of their immoralities, nor of their thefts. Now think about this. We have something like Corona, and most people are going, what's the big deal? We're finding a cure for it. Someone will find a cure for it. We're not really. No one's repenting. No one even thinks about, should we look to God when stuff like this happens? Should we be repenting? Should we be looking at our lives and saying, hey, maybe we are pretty messed up?
It's too early.
Oh, it has to get worse.
I listen. If you kill a quarter of this planet, I think people will start praying. They'll at least start.
It says here they won't.
No. Oh, really?
It just said it that they
Was I
won't.
not listening to anything you said?
You weren't. Yeah. See, this is the problem, Matt. People don't listen.
Even after the third.
Yeah, even after the third. So here, the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, so as not to worship demons and the idols of gold and silver and of brass and stone and wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. And they did not repent of their murders or their sorcerers, nor of their immorality, nor of their theft.
Pete Buttigieg. It's not repenting for wanting to be a baby murderer.
So I'm telling you, man, it's crazy.
I'm thinking we're in the tribulation. Like, I really have been thinking about that ever since Jim was here. Like, it's been on.
I watched that one.
Wasn't
crazy.
that like kind of nuts?
That was nuts.
Because something has to explain. We seem to be on this dump truck to moral depravity, and it is out of control. The brakes are gone, and
yeah.
So with that, I guess I don't remember. I don't know how much time we got, but
we're over.
Yeah.
We're over.
You're good. Go ahead.
So we're talking the rapture has then happened.
Okay, so that's
it was something different than something we didn't notice, essentially, or did it happen a while ago, or is it still to happen?
I think it's a misunderstanding of what rapture means.
What rapture is.
Yeah, because that's right. It's not that.
So as I grew up, and my grandma taught me as a young boy, and my mom and dad, Christ was going to come, medevac us all out of here, take the dead with him, and then it's a Tim LaHaye movie, right?
Right.
Okay, that ain't a thing. When Christ comes back, it's going to be after, and it's Matthew 27, I believe, right? Where you're going to hear the trumpet, and there's going to be darkening in the clouds, and the sun will go dark. And is it 25?
24 and 25.
24 and 25. I always get that wrong. It's terrible. Anyway.
You don't analyze enough.
Well, probably.
Why don't you start analyzing, boy?
I probably should. So, I'm too busy paying attention to politics. So, that's when Christ comes back. And it's going to be fast and over very quickly. It's not anything like the Tim LaHaye movie thing. So, if you then start to look at those things, now you start to open up the ability to have a preterist viewpoint where the millennial kingdom has already happened. They talked about that the end actually started at the destruction of the temple. I don't know if I'm all the way there, but when you start to kind of piece and look and put things together, to me, the thing that I was taught actually starts to look kind of ridiculous, and you start to have this new idea of what the end times are looking like, and it starts to make a lot more sense to me. That's where I'll stop.
Well, this is what, just after you said that, it just brought to my mind too. This is what's interesting about us as people. Like, change is really difficult for us. So if you have grown up thinking, like you said, you're going to get medevaced out, And even if Jesus himself came down and said, "Listen, that's not going to happen. You're going to have to go through tribulation." What would most people do? They would go,
they would be
"Oh
pitching
no,
a
that's
fit."
not.
Right.
Jesus, you're not going to the cross."
Oh, I spent
And Jesus
35 years
Jesus
doing
is sitting
this.
there like, where did you get this idea? Like,
Right.
where did you come up with this from?
Where
This
did
is
this
not
come from?
this is not what I told you. This is not.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got this.
And
You
yet
know,
at the same
you
time,
made it up.
I'm sitting here going, "Hey, if we get raptured out, oh, awesome!
Right,
I
right.
don't really care to go through it either, but if
Right.
we do, that's great. But whatever it is, it is. Let's just find out who Jesus truly is,
Right.
and who cares what the other stuff happens. You know?
Right.
I mean, not that we shouldn't study it and learn it, but why sit around and really get upset with somebody because they tell you the rapture might not be true?
All right. So where is this? Matthew 24. Did you find
It is Matthew 24. Yeah. What do you want? What do you want?
Just
me to find?
read this the part where it says he's going to come back. How he's going to come back.
Let's see. Well, that's a sign. So, therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place. So this is Antichrist. Mm-hmm. He's standing in the holy place. He's saying he's God. Whoever's on the housetop must not go down to get their things. Whoever's in the field must not turn back to get his cloak. But woe to those who are pregnant and nursing, because it's going to be bad in those days. But pray that your flight will be in the winter and or not on the Sabbath, and not on the Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not occurred since the beginning of the world until now, nor will, unless those days have been cut short, no life would have been saved, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, "Behold, here's the Christ." So notice, people are saying, "Hey, Christ is here, Christ is there."
The movie Messiah.
Right, there he is. "Do not believe him, for false Christs and false prophets will arise. Behold, I have told you in advance." So, if they say to you, "Behold, he's in the wilderness," don't go out there. "For just as lightning comes from the east and flashes even in the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be." That's like a quick thing. Lightning that comes
that's
from the
where
east.
you come up with that
Boom.
quick thing. Like it's going to be right now.
Yeah, so whenever the corpse is there, the vultures will gather. And then 29, "But immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the skies, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory."
Okay. So right there it says after the tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
Case closed. Close your Bible. We're good.
Well, some people would say, no, we've been raptured out, and we're going to return with him here in verse 30 when he's coming on the clouds.
That's not what it says.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Why is it warning people to not go outside then?
Huh?
Why is it warning people to not go outside?
Well, the people that are here.
Okay.
You don't want them to get Ebola or anything.
Tim, I can't go with you on this.
All right.
Mr. LaHaye.
All right. I was going to share some other things, but I think it's time to get out
Should
of
we
here
wrap
today.
this up?
Yep. Next week, we have no idea what's going to happen next week. It'll be Friday somewhere. Just real quick, do you feel like time is just like flying by?
Talking about today specifically.
No, like I get to
Started
Sunday.
in the middle of February.
Yeah, and I get to Sunday and I go, man, Monday's here already, and then I just remember saying Monday's here already and it's Friday already.
Mm-hmm. No, but I think this is a function of getting older.
Well, a lot of things are a function of getting older. Like my body's horrible.
Right. No, it's true. But it does seem like the days are quickening, but I don't know.
I mean, being young, I don't think I
Go
feel
ahead,
that,
rub it in.
feel that way. I think it's proving your point in a way. I feel like the more you understand how, you've been alive longer than me, and you understand
That's a
what
nice way of saying
time
you're old.
feels
You've been
like.
alive
There's
longer
two.
than me.
There's two right there.
You understand what it feels like to
Don't
to
hate me
the time.
because I'm young, and you know a lot of things because you're old.
I feel like you just have you understand what more. You understand you're less in the moment, and you're understanding more and more. As time goes on. Whereas me, I feel like I'm still kind of living in the moment, and my days feel kind of long, and I'm not as I don't think about what's happened before, in the past, because there hasn't been much of my past. There hasn't been much of me to reflect on.
Wait till you can't remember things of where you were in your youth.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I want to reflect, but I can't remember
I
it.
can't remember. I used to have such good memories of that time, and now they're gone.
That's true. This is true.
No, listen, and I just want to tell you,
enjoy it for 4 more weeks.
Yeah, because age will come quickly now.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
Oh,
right.
it will.
I'm
The
sure.
no sleep thing is a real killer.
Yeah.
So I do have a theory about that, but maybe we'll keep that another day.
About
do-
what?
About that, having kids and
Baby sleeping?
baby sleeping and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I know, because I had to go shopping with April to get a lot of the gifts for the baby shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so April tells me, she's like, okay, we're going to run and get some of these, this gift. And I thought it was like, we're going to run in. Because here, I'm a guy.
Mm-hmm.
We run in, we find the gift, and we leave. There's a list. There's a gift.
You follow the list.
Find it. Get it.
You
go.
might even get one extra item. I mean, you
Right.
might see something and be like, "That's it." But there's no
But that's-
lollygag.
No.
Right.
An hour and a half.
Oof.
Then when we got up to the line at Target, we stood in line for probably a good 20 minutes or so. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. So I told April, I go, you didn't tell me it was going to take this long to do this. So anyway, long story short, I know what your plan is. You're going to soothe this baby literally to sleep. Everything we got was
he's not going to have any emotions. Yeah.
Soothing cream, soothing vapors,
Calming this, calming that, yeah.
He's going to have absolutely no emotion whatsoever.
He's just going to be knocked out half the time.
I told April this. I go, the kid's going to walk around and be like, people are going to be like, are you happy? And be like,
Couldn't tell you. I'm soothed though.
I'm calm.
I'm
I
super
know that.
calm.
Yeah. I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
All right, what I want to know, because I don't know when you're coming back. You tell me.
When how old were you when you had kids?
It's covered a long time, but I started when I was my late 27,
Okay.
and then I had my final baby when I was 2 years ago, so
Okay.
39.
Okay. So what? How about you?
I know that hurts.
I had my first son. I didn't have him actually. April did, but I
think you can take claim to that, by the way. But
I was 28, I believe,
Okay.
and then we
so
had Nathan.
27, 28.
Yeah, 27, 28.
I was about
where you started.
32. I was 32 then when Nathan came.
Okay. Where would you say you were in your life?
I know exactly where you're going.
Right, 'cause I
feel it.
Right. Do you think it's because it was potentially because you had them just a little bit older?
There's a lot of factors. Okay.
Yeah.
When I had my first one, easy as pie.
Really?
Thought
Okay.
it was tough, but it really wasn't.
Right.
Zoe cried in the middle.
because
of the
Corey
night.
did all the
That was
work.
really terrible.
Let's just face it.
Yeah, no. I rocked that baby to sleep a few times, and so it was like take the socks off, put the socks on, roll it over, don't roll it over. Like I've been there. And then when Zia came along, it was 5 years later. So it was like we had one out of diapers, whatever. This double barrel 14 months apart thing, and then you couple it with, I totally agree with you, I'm in my 40s. I'm like, do those things raise themselves yet? Because I'm still sleeping.
Right.
Like I don't have... When my parents were my age right now, I was 20 and my brother was 18 and a half, 17.
Yeah. See, like I'm turning. I'll be 24 in April.
Yeah.
Having my first kid, and my kids. If we plan on having 4, around that time that they're 18, all of the last one's 18. I'll be in my 40s.
That's a good plan.
I'll be just hitting or around 40, I think.
You guys put this together
How
and
fast
you
are
wrote this
you?
down.
We're trying.
close
We
together
want them all real close together
You
in
don't.
age.
No, you don't. No.
Yeah, do it.
No, you
Because the quicker you get them out,
Right.
Yeah,
you'll
I
be
know,
then.
but the brutality of having them
Right.
close
Yeah.
together.
No, I could see that though.
Oh my! It's like
So just put it all on Brienne. It'll be good.
Well, I mean, the plan is she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, so she's got it.
Great.
She can just
This is
right?
gonna work.
just hand it all to her.
Psychology bills.
This is gonna work now. I have faith in you, Justin. Yep. And on top of that, you're gonna be working with youth.
I'm already coach
Yeah.
and working with youth, and it's gonna set me up. I'm planning on the kids keeping me young.
Oh, that doesn't work. Either.
No, yeah,
Whatever.
I figured that one was a
Listen,
stretch.
you've got this cat skinned. We ought to just go.
I will leave you with one Bible verse though that has been on my heart for a while, and I've thought through it, and it's out of Psalm 103, I believe. But it's bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget none of His benefits. Who pardons all your iniquities, who heals all of your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with loving kindness and compassion, and listen to this, who satisfies your years with good things, so that your youth is renewed like the eagle. I am looking forward to the next 40 years of my life because I want to be my youth to be renewed like the eagle. Yeah. So I've been holding on to this verse. I'm going, it's got to get better.
It will. And let me tell you, so all it takes is, and thank the Etlings and the people that watched our kids while we were gone. Mm-hmm. We were gone 5 days, and it's like, missed our... Right. There was a lot of calls home. But, we're running around like we did when we were 22. We're going out and doing things. We were staying up late talking with friends. And we didn't argue. We didn't...
Corey's not pregnant, is she?
No. No, Corey's not pregnant. But it was
5 days can do that. Going out to dinner 5 times in a row, that can do that.
Is that what it is? Is the out to eating part?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Did you go to Red Lobster by any chance?
No, we did not.
Because that can speed up things.
Red Lobster.
We're going to have to talk about these principles on another day.
Yeah.
Are we getting out of here?
All right, we're out of here. You guys have a great weekend, and hopefully someone will see you in church.
Have a great week. As soon as my button works.